to United Kingdom Talk. Chris Reardon with you for the next hour. I think we should go straight onto the emails because they're kind of building up, you know. Except just to tell you that today I have precariously arranged this umbrella thing to give us a bit of shade so you can't see the lines so much, all right? I'm afraid I have stopped using the face creams. Far too expensive, and I honestly don't think they're doing anything. What about you ladies, huh? Anyone using face cream? And what is the one that Joy uses, Joy in Acton? She told us ages and ages ago, something really cheap. And Joy is 70, 80? Joy is 80, possibly 81. You know, you wouldn't think she looked a day over 20, to be honest, our Joy in Acton. It's true, isn't it? Huh? So I've put this thing up here to try and avoid the sun a little bit more. Now, we've got some... here we go, then. Straight on to the emails today, OK? Straight on to the emails. First of all, a couple of emails that I kind of found on the YouTube thing. It's like you can watch and listen to this show in a variety of different means. If you could just do me one little favour, all right? And if you've got anything to say, can you use the email? Because what tends to happen is people leave messages on the YouTube, which is gratefully received. Messages on the YouTube and on the podcast site and to the various different little radio stations that play the show out. And they either get delayed by a long time or they get missed. Now, if you send in an email, it will never get missed because it comes straight to me, OK? So if you've got anything to say ever, please use the email. Email address for the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, right? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I've moved the camera back a bit further today because we've got all the flowers behind me and I thought it looked rather pretty. You know, we do like a bit of pretty, don't we? Which is probably why you're watching this programme. Pardon? First of all, a couple of YouTube comments I've come across on the while having a look there from ex-Alistair. Alistair always writes a little comment. Great show as usual. He would prefer the £120 what you would get for doing a job rather than the £40 that people get on benefits. I think most people would, Alistair, unless they're really lazy. I've got no time for these people who think... You see, I think you have to think of the whole thing together rather than individually. There's too many people now. I think the schools are a lot to blame, really, and that rather than talk about society as a whole, they talk about the individual. I know many people who don't work for medical reasons, fair enough. I know many people who don't work for medical reasons when there's nothing wrong with them, which I don't like. And there's many people who don't work because they are better off, and I quote, on benefits. And I don't understand why the government don't do something about that. How ludicrous is that? That it's you're better off not to work. They need to do something about that. It's all very well, you know, I'm paying taxes and I'm keeping people who are too darn lazy to work, aren't I? Is that fair? Or are you one of those people that say, I don't care, I'm all right, Jack? Just a thought for you there. Usual comments, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And we were talking about, in a couple of shows ago, whether you would prefer £40 in benefits or £120 what you'd worked for. What's your reply? It's all very well being unemployed, too lazy to work, or finding things wrong with you when there really isn't. Money for the rent, money for the council tax, money for your food. OK, not hundreds and hundreds of pounds, but certainly enough to stop you dropping dead. And why is it that pensioners don't seem to be looked after like that after they've worked all their lives? Don't you think it's a bit wrong? Huh? Don't know how we got into that subject. You see, I'm on the soapbox today. I'm on the soapbox. Hello to The Thomas Show, another YouTube viewer who writes, in regard to flickering icons on desktop, do you remember I told you, now and again I can be doing something on the computer and all the little icons will suddenly flash and then will all come back on one at a time. And they do all come back on. Right, well, the Thomas Show says, I get that every now and again, and it's mainly because you haven't got enough memory and that your hard disk is fragmented. So fragment your hard disk regularly. Defragmenting your hard disk regularly will reduce it but not eliminate it completely. I think it happens to all desktops, but I'm looking forward to hearing from other people what they think. That's my guess, mate. I think you're right. The defragging thing, I do that on a regular basis, once every couple of weeks or so. It doesn't take long when you do it like that. I have to explain to Joy what that is. Joy, defragmenting a hard disk, dear. This is for non-technical people. If you imagine a disk is a circular thing, okay, and the computer stores all its information on this disk. In time, all the bits of information get scrambled up. So instead of all being in one place, they end up all over the disk. Defragmenting the disk gets the bits of information that have been split up and puts them all back together again. So, in effect, it's supposed to make your computer run faster. Not so sure about the flashing icons, dear. All right? But you might be right, I don't know. I think you're probably right when it comes to the memory, because my main computer upstairs, that's about 4 or 5 years old now. And it was a very good computer at the time. Of course, it's been superseded time and time again now. But it's not got that much memory in it. I think half a gig of memory in it. And I did attempt to upgrade it. I rung up the manufacturers, Dell, who kindly informed me that memory for that particular machine was about £300, $600, because it was a special machine. Of course, I didn't believe them, and I started searching around on the internet. And sure enough, one of the more popular memory suppliers here in the UK is Crucial Memory. They couldn't get it either. And another couple of quotes were all coming out around the £300 mark. Now, as you know, you can buy a really good computer now for £500. And I kind of thought to myself, I think that's a bit of waste of money, really. Upgrading that, when you can, I mean, the whole thing is already 4 or 5 years old now. You see, what will go next? That's the question. When you've got that far, I think you're probably better off to say, right, let's start again. So I'm not going to upgrade the memory to that. I did, as I say, I did attempt to do that a couple of times, but £300 does seem a little bit too much to me for a couple of chips, doesn't it, you? And besides, it would only double the memory to 1 gig. And I know you can now get computers with 3 gig or so of memory. Joy, memory and computers, it's like drawers, okay? You know the drawers in your bedroom where you put stuff in? Well, memory chips are like temporary drawers where you put stuff in for a while and then take it out again when you switch the thing off, all right? Well, we all want to know what's in your drawers, Joy, don't we? Eh? Am I tumbling over my words today? Did you notice that? I'm scrambling the words, never mind. So thank you very much for the Thomas Show, another regular viewer and commenter on the programme. Ross, who actually I work with at the Golden Lion on Monday nights when we do the bingo. What a cheek. There's a magpie. Let's see if I can... Don't know if I'm going to... There's a magpie. It's eating my cat food. It just flew down to the cat bowl, quite happily in front of me and the 2 cats, and nicked their food. What a and the cats are just... Well, didn't that bother you at all, Katie? It's back again. This is outrageous. Hang on, let me see if I can get you to see it. Stay there a minute. Try and get you to see this. No, it's disappeared again. How annoying. If it comes to... of course I've moved the camera now, haven't I? Where are you gone? I can't believe that. 1 minute. Go back here. Sorry, we've got to make adjustments now. Oh, I wish I hadn't done that now. There we are, that's better. What's a cheek? Can you believe that? The cat's just sat there, watching it. They're useless, aren't they? I bet Susan's Lions wouldn't have sat there. They would have gone for that. Yeah, Ross, who works in the Golden Lion, reckons the flickering, if I was to get an external hard drive, that would sort that. But I think I don't know, I think you got the wrong end of the stick there. I can't see how that's going to sort out the flickering on the screen occasionally. It's only now and again. Usually when you're doing something, if you start running a program or something like that, Ross. All right? So thank you very much. Oh, by the way, Ross, if you are watching, I left my rechargeable batteries plugged in the electrical socket in the pub last night. So could you keep an eye on those? How stupid of me. Oh, yes. Does anyone else do that? Do you take your rechargeable batteries into work to charge them up there? I bet you do, don't you? Right, now, as I say, let's do all these emails today. We must do those. Got to say hi to Dawn. I quite like your email address there, how you're peachy. I quite like that. Dawn, who says, hi Chris, just wanted to say hi. Oh, by the way, Comcast. Now, are you in Australia? I've got a feeling you're in Australia. Hi Chris, just wanted to say hi and tell you that I listen to your podcasts on a weekly basis. They're fantastic. Keep up the great work. Happy music from Dawn. So thank you for that one, Dawn. Whereabouts are you? I have a feeling... Is Comcast, isn't that an Australian... Or is it I don't know where that is. Tell me where you are, all right, Dawn? Thanks a lot for that. Hello to Oliver. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if we're going to get to the bank story today. I have been promising you that now, haven't I, for the last, 3 or 4 shows? We might get to it. We might not. All right? Hello to Oliver. At the risk of sounding like an email to Steve Wright's big show, we like Steve Wright, yes, he does BBC Radio 2. He's done a show on the radio for years, hasn't he? First of all, of course, on Radio 1, now on Radio 2. Oh, wouldn't it be marvellous if I could get a show on there, eh? Oh, I hope the day when I can say 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC. And they play that jingle, don't they? It's very powerful. Da, 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 da. Do you ever watch it? Or listen to it, rather? Anyway, Oliver says, just thought I'd drop you an email to say love the show. I'm not normally a fan of talk radio, but I must admit, I think you're fantastic. It's nothing better than patting yourself on the back, is it? Which is something actually I don't do. I only read what's written here. I don't make these up, you know. You've probably got people saying, oh, listen to him making up his own email. I certainly don't. Oh, by the way, I have, as I say, I have erected my umbrella here today to keep me in a bit of a shade, to stop the sun coming on. But the thing at the bottom, what it stands in, is a bit broken. It fell over the other day. So there is a good chance that the whole thing will collapse halfway through the programme. But don't worry. Don't worry. Safety units are standing by as we speak. All I've got to do is push a button here and people will come running through and rescue me. Don't you worry yourselves, all right? Ollie says, I'm really emailing in because I heard you talking about how expensive petrol was about a week ago. And I just wanted to point out that crude oil has now dropped by quite a bit this week. Yet they're still charging us exactly the same at the pumps. Why, oh why, do they put the prices up instantly when it rises, but then hold on for them for ages after the price has gone back down? Oh no, hang on a minute. Just a minute, everything's blown on the floor. Just a second. This is one of the things with being in the garden, isn't it? Hang on, what is this? Well, we've done that one already anyway. Oh, sorry about that. Why, oh why, let me see. Hold it, after the price. It drives me insane. It currently costs me over £85 to fill my tank, which seems to last no time at all. Keep up the good work, from Ollie. Thank you, Ollie. Nice to hear from you, sir. Yeah, I was listening to this thing on the radio last night on the way back home from work, and they were saying on there that I don't know, some motoring organisation had done this survey about the oil prices and the prices of diesel in particular. Now, of course, a few years ago, about 5 years ago, diesel was significantly cheaper than petrol. by about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pence a litre perhaps. And in the last 6 months, that's changed, and diesel is now 11, 12, 13 pence a litre. It's a lot of money, 13 pence a litre dearer than unleaded petrol. So of course what happened a few years ago, everyone went out and started buying diesel cars, didn't they? Thinking that the long-term benefits are going to save money because, well, number one, it's cheaper, and number two, you get more miles to the gallon. And all of a sudden, and it has happened suddenly, it's only in the last 4, 5, 6 months that we've seen an enormous change in the price difference between diesel and petrol. So what's going on there? And I can't work out, is it the government doing that, putting more tax on the diesel, or is it the oil companies making that difference? Which begs to ask the question. We also have a fuel here in the UK, LPG, liquid petroleum gas, I think it's called. All right? Now, our diesel price at this present moment in time, I was driving past places last night on the way home, $1.29 a litre, okay? In those same garages, they were charging for unleaded petrol, I suppose in the States that would just be called normal gas, was about $1.17 a litre. Okay, so you can see the gap there between diesel and unleaded fuel. LPG, which is supposed to be the cleanest, is, how much do you think that is? I don't know if it's widely popular in the States or indeed Australia, where we have a lot of listeners and viewers. It's 60 pence a litre. Huge difference, isn't it? Now, I wonder, I just put my glasses on, found another pair of sunglasses, look at this. I wonder if we were to all switch now to LPG cars or be converted, would the price of that too start going up? You see, that's the dilemma, isn't it? Now, I did inquire actually about whether my car could be converted to diesel, and apparently it could at the cost of about £800, which is an awful lot of money. The thing is, because my miles per gallon on that little car are good anyway, it would take me maybe 3 years to recoup the amount I'd saved at this point. And you kind of think, well, I've had the car 2 years, another 3 years, it's probably not worth doing. But I wonder if they would do the same to LPG as they've done to diesel and increase the price of that as more people swapped over. You see, so you can't win. How do you trust people like that? And who are the people that are doing this? Is it the oil companies or is it the government? Who's putting the price of the diesel up sky high? The lorry drivers are going mad. I mean, okay, yeah, I do feel it. When I first bought that car, it cost me £29 to fill it up 2 years ago, okay? I filled it up the other day from almost empty, £42. So in 2 years, it's gone up, is it a third? It's gone up by a third. It's an awful, awful lot. And I think it will start filtering through soon in the prices of food and all that business. But you're right, Oliver. It's not fair, is it? Who's getting the money? Is it the government or the oil companies? Any thoughts on that? Let us know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I've settled down a bit more. I wasn't settled down at the beginning of the show today. Do you ever notice that? Always sometimes I think to myself that the beginning of the show is a little bit rough sometimes. Oh, the sun's gone back in again. A little bit rough sometimes, and I find after a few minutes you get into it. Maybe I should do like a pre-show of 10 minutes, okay, which you wouldn't see or hear, and then go into it like that and repeat everything a second time. Not that I do repeat, now and again. Right. Now I've lost a bit of paper again. Oh. There it is. Very important, this bit of paper. It tells me what time to finish the show. Otherwise we go on and on forever. I'm not sure that you'd like that. Hello to Roberts. Hello, Rob. It's our Bob, who says, hi, Chris. We were talking about the way the show is done, okay? As you know, this show is recorded exactly a week in advance. So today was a week ago for you, but it is today for me. Do you follow? Good. Eh? And what we were saying was the reason that I do that is so that if anything goes wrong, I've got time to catch up. But does that really matter? If something goes wrong and I wasn't there, would that matter? It would certainly make the emails come up quicker and we could be more current. You see, the thing is, I've just told you that unleaded petrol was 1.17 last night. It's probably gone up now because a week has passed since that happened for you. You see? If I was recording the show that day or even the day before that day, then it would be a lot more current. And then perhaps we could pull out a couple of news stories as well. I'm always very careful about having a look through the papers perhaps and choosing news stories that have happened, because after a week the whole situation could change. Now those poor people at the was it an earthquake in, it was Burma, wasn't it? And China as well. Now we could have talked about that and I would have said to you maybe, you know, 200 people have died. A week later it's 10,000. You see what I mean? So you've got to be very careful when you pull out news stories like that if you're recording a week ahead. But we could do that if we did it, you know, sort of a day before or indeed that day. Robert says, hi Chris, I would opt for doing away with the week ahead schedule because to me the show is dynamic. Well, unlike the presenter, I'm afraid. Am I dynamic? What does that mean? And needs to keep its fresh, topical character, which actually you have managed to do, so I'm now confused, but I'm sure you understand. Yeah. How do I manage to keep it? Well, I suppose I don't mention the fact that it is recorded a week ahead, do I? It's only now that I've kind of... I just assumed that for some stupid reason that you'd know that, but of course you wouldn't, would you? Yeah, we're recorded exactly a week ahead at the moment. That will change in July. Let me read the rest of the email. I understand, which I'm sure most of the others do, that you may not be able to produce a show on that day or days. That is life, and that's from Bob the Viking. Bob the Viking, the Vikings, la 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 la. Who is it? Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. There might be times where I can't be with you. That's all right though, isn't it? I shall do my best. Perhaps I've got a little sniffle of the nose, or maybe I'm gone away somewhere. In the middle of July, I will be going up to my sister's for 5 days. Now, during that period of time, the 3 shows will be recorded for that week already. But when I come back, I will allow those 3 shows to kind of lapse over, and then we will be current. I will let you know when that happens. Okay? And also, don't forget that experiment. We want to try Bingate on the radio. All right? If you want to be part of that little experiment, send me your email, and I will send you a virtual bingo ticket when we start doing that. Okay? We can only do that one by email. Just type in your email, please can I join in the Bingate experiment, or something like that. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, and send it through. Okay? Now, let's say hello to Tony's brother, again from YouTube, Terence, who's in Canberra, Australia. He gave me the information the other day of that hill that I went up. Was it Black Hill? I can't remember what it was now. I've got it written down upstairs. That hill I went up in Canberra, where you can see the whole... Now, listen, did you hear that? That's the chair. Now, I've got it here to prove I did actually oil this earlier, in the hope that the squeaking would stop, but it's made no difference at all, has it? Maybe I should bring down my posh black leather chair from upstairs. Will that help? Oh, it's getting very noisy now, isn't it? We've got a helicopter going over, children playing over there, birds singing. Probably after my cat food again, I would have thought. What is that going up there? Just a minute, let me have a look. Isn't it noisy? What we've got round here is a little airport, Blackbush Airport, which is only down the road, and they do a lot of flying lessons. Do you remember that flying lesson I did 2 years ago? Well, that was from Blackbush Airport, and we get a lot of the little two-seater Cessna aeroplanes flying over here all the time, which is a bit noisy. It doesn't bother me at all, but when you're doing a show like that, it's a bit noisy, isn't it? Anyway, Terence from Canberra, Australia, I thought I might send him some pictures of the speakers that he builds. He builds loudspeakers. Not your usual run-of-the-mill things. Oh, no. They're not made out of, what's that, wood chip? Wood chip and laminate. No, these are proper ones. Look, they consist of granite, piano lacquer and airbrushing. What is air? I don't know what airbrushing is. The drivers I use are recording studio quality, Dine Audios. I'm into home theatre and hi-fi. I have 6 children and 2 German shepherds. Oh, and a wife. You put that bit at the end there, Terence, like she's not really important. Is that right? I hope she don't watch this programme. Good to see someone in England with a sense of humour. Oh, well, you've got to laugh at yourself, Terence, haven't you? You have to laugh at yourself. I mean, everyone else does, let's face it. Rock on from Terence. Terence, you should have given me the name of your children there. Come on, send in the name of your children, and we'll give them a little bit of a shout-out. And Terence send in some lovely pictures of these speakers that he built. They're beautiful. Actually, they're actually in black and white here, so you can't really see them that well. Perhaps you might be able to see this one, and they're just beautiful, made of granite. Do you actually sell those, Terence? Do you sell those speakers or what? How much do one of those cost? Not that I'm asking you to ship one over. I've got a couple of little speakers in the living room and indeed in the studio upstairs, but they're nothing special. I'm not like a hi-fi enthusiast like yourself, but they're beautiful items. How long does it take? How do you cut granite? Is it with a saw or what? Is it easy to break? Tell me some more, and let me know the name of your children, and of course, your very important wife. Oh, and a wife indeed. What you like? It's like you tagged her on the end just before you forgot her. Thank you, Terence. Love to everyone over there in Australia, all right? Hi to... Michael. Hello, Michael. This is Michael, and he runs Pink Air, which is a new little radio station. They've been broadcasting for 2 months, and we're now being played on Pink Air as well, so a warm welcome along to you. And he's called it, instead of calling it United Kingdom Talk, he's called it At Home with Chris Reardon. That's quite nice. What are you going to do when we go out of the home, though? If we ever go on location or anything like that? Thank you very much for that, Michael. And I've sent you a photo as well of me drinking a cup of tea at the Fortnum and Masons thing I went to last week. I'm still recovering from that. Now, I did say to you a few weeks ago that we were going to try and go into the forest just up there and record a show in there, and I do still intend to do that. It's finding the time to do it, because that's a little bit harder. You've got to carry the recording gear, the microphone thing, the camera, the clock, because I actually have a clock here, you see, there's a clock here which tells me when to finish the show. Otherwise, without that, I'd finish too early or too late, probably. The bits of paper, and of course myself, I've got to get up there. I'd also have to do it sitting on the floor, because I don't think I'd be able to take my trusty chair up there. You know, not even with the squeaking. So it's a little bit involved to do that, and I do hope to do that before the summer's out, okay? So I will try and do that. Now, where's my bit? I've lost my bit of paper again, because I keep forgetting what time I've got to finish. There we are, that's better. Hello to David Barron. Regular writer to the programme. Nice to hear from you, David. And he says, how's it going? Great show on June the 5th, which was actually my son's birthday. Lee, my son, was 24 on the 5th of June. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't until I finished the show that I remembered you had asked me about how much I enjoy my job before I quit, an age in the email previous to last one I sent you, and I'd completely forgotten to respond. So now that I remember completely, I am taking this opportunity to make amends. Oh, don't worry about that. I forget things all the time, David. I wonder what the sort of, I mean, I don't make light of this at all. I wonder what the sort of pointers are towards Alzheimer's disease. Is it forgetting things? If so, I think I'm a prime candidate. I mean, it is a worry. Do you ever think of that? You know, when you get days where you forget things. I mean, I've for example, even just before I started the show, I sat here and I sort of thought to myself, now I've forgotten something. What was it? What was it? What was it? And you're sitting there and you think, I can't remember what it was, and it was the sunglasses. Right, because when I came out today, it was rather overcast, and then the sun came out, and the sun's gone back in again now. I'd forgotten the sunglasses. But on the way through the kitchen, I thought to myself, I must pick up the sunglasses. Got out here, sat down, couldn't remember what I wanted. Could that be a pointer to Alzheimer's disease? I wonder if they have certain tests that you can now go and have done to see if you've got the early on stages. And is there anything you can do about it? Is it just one of those old age things? And if it's not an old age thing, what age should one start to worry about getting something like that? My friend Joy in Acton, now she's as I say over 80 now, she doesn't have Alzheimer's disease at all. She remembers every last word, unfortunately. You know, she's always quite happy to remind me when I've said if I've put weight on or anything. No, I'm only joking. She's a sweetheart, she is. She hasn't got any problem at all with Alzheimer's disease, and she's over 80. I heard it said on one of the radio shows that I listened to on the way home, or one of the podcasts, I think on one of Dr. Carl's programmes, who does Triple J in Australia, as I'm sure Terence will know. I think it was his show that said exercise. If you exercise half an hour, is it 2.5 hours a week or something like that? People that exercise, and we don't mean going down the gym or running 10 miles. We could talk about a brisk walk. Yeah, walking around instead of taking the car everywhere, or cycling, something like that. People who do exercise have much less chance of getting things like Alzheimer's disease. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? But do you ever wonder like that? Maybe you've got, on a serious note, maybe if you've got a relative perhaps who has Alzheimer's disease, must be awful. If you have, and you want to share it, and you want to remain anonymous, that's okay. Write into the show, tell us all about it. The show, as I've said many times before, is about sharing stories and life's experiences. If you've got a parent perhaps that has Alzheimer's disease, or perhaps had a parent with Alzheimer's disease, what is that like? How does it make you feel to go and see your mum or dad, or whoever, and not be recognised by the same people that brought you up? I would imagine that's worse than perhaps seeing someone close die from a disease. I don't know. Must be pretty awful, because it lasts a long time, doesn't it? Alzheimer's doesn't actually kill anyone. Am I wrong there or right? I'm not sure. Have you got any experience with that? If you want to share them, if you want to be anonymous, please keep me anonymous, but this is the story, and I'll read it out, okay? Or if you want to write and you don't want it read out, you can always put that at the top of the email as well. You can always trust me to do whatever you want me to do, okay? Except strip off my clothes on the show. There are whale hunters over there, and I don't want to be harpooned, all right? Back to David's letter. Regarding my job, I have no love for the company. Oh, he doesn't love the people he works for. Well, we've all had that at times, haven't we? Huh? What now? I'm not telling you. There are some places that I love working at, and some places that I'm not so happy about. Regarding my job, I have no love for the company. However, I do enjoy the people I work with. Oh yes, I mean, one place, let me think. All the places I work at, I get along with all the normal members of staff there, all of them. There was There was one place I worked at, it was last year that I left a place. I really wasn't enjoying some of the people I worked with, or indeed the actual place itself. I just had enough. I think, when I think about it, it was certain people that I thought, no, I can't work with these people anymore. So I left. And you have to leave, and that's it. I think you have to leave. If you get on with the people you work with, then I think it doesn't matter so much about the company. It's strange for me. For years and years I've worked for this company. I was still happy working for that company. It was just certain people that I didn't like. It didn't look like they were ever going to go, so I left. And that was that. Picked up another couple of jobs. It's all right. I think when you're not happy, when you're really not happy anymore, and you've tried certain things to resolve the situation and nothing's done about it, you have to go, and that's it. You see, what I tend to do is, if I'm not happy, I will then go out and look for another job. If I've tried several different things to resolve the situation and nothing happens, it's at that point I then keep my mouth shut and I get on with the job. And I keep doing that job. While I'm doing the job, I'm looking around for something else. And then you find something else and you accept, and then you say, right, hello, I'm going now. Now, at that point, sometimes offers are made. I have to say to you, no offers were made to me, okay? But at that point, sometimes offers are made. Once you've said, right, I'm going, at that point, whoever's employing you has no more power over you. The only power I think companies have over you is, one, if you like the job, okay? And two, the wages. Once you go and say, I'm resigning on this date, all the power's gone. So once you've done that, sometimes you start getting offers. But you see, by then it's too late, because you've already arranged another job. I think you're very foolish if you're not happy at a place, you try and resolve it, nothing's done to kind of make it better for you, you go out and look for another job, you get an offer, you accept, and then you go back to job number one, say, hello, I'm leaving, oh, what do you want? And then you say, and they say, yes, okay. I think that's foolish. I think it's gone too far by then. If they valued you, they would have tried to make amends with whatever your problem was with the job. Remember, you went out to look for another job because they weren't, the original people that were employing you didn't want to do anything about your problem. Now you've got another job. Oh, it's all different now. It's the ball's in your court now, isn't it? And I think sometimes if you've got the other job and then you go back and they make you another offer and you stay, I don't always think that's a good idea. Each and every one to their own, I suppose. David says, so you see, we can say this, we can read emails like this because David hasn't mentioned the name of the company. We don't know exactly where he is, so this is the beautiful thing of being anonymous like this. If we mention the name of the company, they might watch the show. You never know, do you? I mean, how many Davids are there that are not happy with the job? Quite a few, I would have thought. David says, so as for quitting, I'm taking your advice and approaching the boss and telling him where to go and how to get there when I quit. Shall I do it as well for you, David? I love it. Love it. You've got to be, you see, if you're going to do that, David, you've got to be sure that you're never going to go back again, or possibly never talk to the person involved. I love it. Let me read that. I love it. I'm taking your advice and approaching the boss and telling him where to go and how to get there when I quit. Love it. Being this news, or my resignation will certainly come as a complete shock to my fellow employees. Yeah, that's the other thing. Now, if you're in a company and you work with a lot of people, you've got to be very, very careful who you speak to if you decide to leave or do something like this. Because I guarantee you there will be someone there who you think is a good friend, okay? But could try and score points with the boss behind your back. And there's nothing worse than saying something to someone, round the circle it goes, and it comes back to you via the boss. You're better off to say nothing to anyone. Honestly, please take my advice there. Don't tell anyone until everything's arranged and everything's in place. That's when you tell the boss directly. And then the boss will probably tell everyone, he'll waft round you a bit of paper like that. Oh, look, I've got this letter from so-and-so. Oh, it's all very sad. He will probably show all the other stuff. And then they will say to you, why didn't you tell us? You could have trusted us. But honestly, if there's 10 people there, I bet there's 3 of them that would do that. Perhaps not even to cause damage. They probably don't think they're doing anything by that. Oh, by the way, did you hear that David's going to leave? And you see word gets around, and then the boss says, David, is that right? You're going to leave? See? Not good. I really advise you, David, don't tell anyone what you're up to, okay? Except me, of course, because it's we like to share secrets, don't we? And then and then you can use that one if you want, David. You can say, I'm surprised you didn't know. My mate in the UK has told everyone in the world, and then give him a link to the programme, right? And he'll be so peeved that he's probably the only person not to have known what you're up to. Do you like that? Maybe I should charge that as a service. Do you think? Could we do that as some sort of news service? And how much should I charge? Just an idea. David says, I will give them a heads up the week prior to me walking off the job. No, don't. Don't tell your friends. Honestly, don't tell your friends. There will be someone there who's after promotion. All right? Oh, do you know I can smell cigarette smoke? I'm sure I can smell cigarette smoke. Oh, well. Don't tell them. There will be someone there who's after promotion and will go to the boss and say, did you know David was leaving? And then your cover is blown. Don't tell a soul, okay? David said, being that my resignation is during the time when everyone is taking holidays, it's going to cause some serious scheduling issues when people will be permitted to take holidays. Exactly, yeah. You want to throw a spanner in the works, don't you? I'm getting your drift here. Being that I am 24, soon to be 25 in July, you see, you're so young. 25 to be leaving a job and starting a new one. That's brilliant. Perfect. You see, when I worked for British Telecom, I was a telephone engineer. I joined them at 18 and I left at 45, 35... 31, 30. I think I left when I was about 28 or 29. Now, I didn't leave British Telecom because I was upset with them. What had happened is that I was doing I was DJing, and I got eventually, as time went on, I had so much DJing work that it became impossible to do ordinary things like washing or anything like that. Because what was happening is that I was working during the day as a telephone engineer for BT, and then I'd go home, have about an hour and a half sleep in the sort of late afternoon, sort of around between 5 and 7, and then I would go and DJ somewhere till midnight. And it got to the point where I had to decide what I wanted to do, and in the end I decided to just become a DJ, and that's when I left British Telecom. I had a fantastic job with them. It was really good. I used to go to people's houses. I used to go to work in the morning. I'd be there about 7:45. I was always early. I'd take some jobs and go out in my little yellow British Telecom van and repair people's phones and climb up and down telegraph poles, put wires up people's houses. It was a great job. Meeting people was the best part of it. and chatting to them, especially old people. I do enjoy talking to elderly people. They've always got such great stories to tell. And they're always so grateful that you have come to repair their phones. There were some people that would say, oh, you're being paid to do it. No. Business people would say that, wouldn't they? Oh, it's your job, you're being paid. What sort of attitude is that to take? It's like when the boys came a couple of years ago and put the solar panels on the roof, you know. At the end of the job, I bought them a couple of bottles of, what was it he had? Jack Daniels, a couple of bottles of that. I supplied them with tea and toast all the time they were up there. When it rained, I told them, come in the house, don't stay up there. I don't like that attitude, do you? Oh, it's your job, you're getting paid for it. It's just horrible. And horrible people say that, I think. Was it a dead spider over there? No, it's not, it's a bit of grass. Gotta be nice. Gotta be nice. I don't think I've ever really been like that. Oh, I've never said to anyone it's your job, do it. It's even the girls in the checkout. I know I have a moan sometimes about salesmen and that sort of thing that pester you in shops and what have you. But I don't, you know, I'm no better than them. We're no better than salesmen, are we? We're all the same, all trying to do a job, I suppose. Salesmen do get on my nerves a lot. But I wouldn't say, it's your job, get on with it, would you? Just a nasty attitude to take towards people. And unfortunately, not all, but there are a lot of businessmen who talk like that. I hear them in the in the sports centre up the road. I belong to a private sports centre. It's relatively expensive in comparison to the council-run swimming pool. But you've got a lot of people with money up there, and the way they talk sometimes, you're thinking, how sad is it to be like that, you know? Not really me. And that whole thing with manners and that, people are often saying about young people and how they have no manners and push past you all the time. You want to come up and use the showers up in that gym. It's awful. You can be standing there, right, in the middle of the two showers, because like the cubicles, there were 4 cubicles either side, and like a middle bit that you walk through. So you walk through with your towel, you take your towel off, you hang it on a hook, and you go into the little cubicle and close the glass door. Okay? Now, when the shower's finished, you come out of there. You can dry yourself in there, but they've got those stupid remote-controlled sensor things which turn the water on and off. So you don't actually have to touch them, you just kind of wave your hand over the top of them and the water comes on or goes off. But, you know, they're just too sensitive, you know what I mean? So you can be sitting there and you finish your shower and you dry yourself and the damn thing comes on again. And you get a wet towel. So I then come out of there and dry myself in the middle, as other people do. But these people who are my age and older, and you always see them coming, and they push past. They don't say excuse me, and there's not an awful... I think they just want to rub up against me, to be honest. They just push past. It doesn't cost anything to say excuse me, does it? Excuse me, mate. I always do that. Always say excuse me. These people, they just push past. They're so important, aren't they? Is it that? Or is it just that people are afraid of talking to each other now? I always think it's very sad when you hear these stories about people who live in a house and they have problems with neighbours or the hedge or, I don't know, noise or anything like that. I'm very lucky. I've got fantastic neighbours. All the neighbours right round in our kind of little square are fantastic here. We all keep an eye on other people's houses, that sort of thing. You know? Is that luck, or is it just because I live in a house surrounded by nice people? People who, you know, I certainly wouldn't have... I'd be horrified if I got a knock on the door from anyone and said, could you turn the music down? I'd be horrified that I'd upset someone. That bothers me. Now, I've been out with people before, round their houses, and the music's been blaring, and I've said to them, I've said to people in their houses, I'm not so much recently, but sort of in my 30s when I was going to clubs and that, and then you'd go back to someone's house for a chill out or something like that. That was always in London for me. And they'd have the music blaring out, and you'd say to them, don't you worry about the neighbours? And they'd say to you, why? They can't grasp that you do actually have to think about other people, just out of common courtesy. It's just surprising the amount of people that don't anymore. Like on the buses. The amount of fit people that sit in seats designed for elderly people or disabled people even. Someone old gets on the bus and no one gets up. These are not just children that do that. Businessmen with suitcases and things like that. No respect for other people at all. It's completely different to what I saw on the television. Do you remember I told you about that programme with the Indian sweatshops that were making clothes all the time? And all these Indian people, I mean, they're so poor. They're so poor. They've just got nothing. And yet they seem to respect everyone for what they are, whether they are poor or indeed loaded with money. Everything, they have so much respect, which I think in this country is just gone. Maybe you'll remember that next time, perhaps, you're at home and want to turn your music up full volume. Think of your neighbours. It's not even so much that, oh, I don't know. It's just nice to think about other people. Why should you encroach on other people? And it's like smoking as well. Now, I was sitting outside a little restaurant when I was with Wayne the butler after the Fortnum and Masons. We went to the afternoon tea. We had another cup of tea outside a little restaurant the other day on that same day. And we're sitting in the middle table, and there was a bloke smoking on the table, and all the smoke was coming our way. It's just horrible. Had that have been me, I don't think I would have lit a cigarette, but of course I don't smoke, so it doesn't matter anyway. Always try and think of other people, you know, that you might not want to actually upset them. You might want to do them a favour. You never know when you might need to call on your neighbours. And similarly, always be there if they need some help from you. Why not? As I say, it must be really awful to be next to a neighbour. My sister, I have to say, my sister, she had some of those great big Lalandi trees between her and her neighbour. Now, I tend to keep out of this, but these trees were enormous, and the neighbour kept coming round and asking her to chop them down, and the attitude was kind of, why should we chop them down? We'll chop them down when we're ready. Now, I would have been straight out there and chopped those trees down to keep peace. It's how different people are, I suppose. Anyway, back to the email. I've rabbited on for a while there, haven't I? Sorry, we went right off that subject. Let's have a look here. Being that I am 24, soon to be 25 in July, my current employer cannot expect me to stay there for a long period of time, especially with how little they pay me. Thanks for your advice on that topic. I appreciate it. It certainly helped out on me developing my decision. Good. Good. I'm glad it did. Glad it did. As by the way, David, have you got good... I hope you get on well with your neighbours. You don't have your music up too loud. Huh? I know how you are, 24, 25 years old. My guess is that you like loud music. Just plug a pair of headphones in then. Huh? That's what I do. That's what I do. As for your show on June the 5th, I'm pleased to know that you share my beliefs in punishing criminals. Oh, absolutely. Cut their hands off. Simple as that. Cut their blooming hands off. They won't do it again then, will they? See, that's the other thing I think. How many people, when all these criminals, and they do seem to be let off an awful lot in this country, how many criminals that are doing something bad now would stop doing it if they saw a few of their, shall we call them colleagues, who they may not know, but a few other criminals having their hands chopped off? How many people would stop doing it? I bet there'd be a lot. David says, however, when I played your show, my girlfriend, she had called us barbaric for desiring such vile tactics. Well, what's their answer then? What are you going to do? Lock them up? You lock them up. They meet other dodgy people. They get talking about different methods to burglarise people. And then they come out and do it all over again. It doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work. Chop their hands off. I think they do that. Don't they do that in Saudi Arabia? They chop your hands off if you get caught stealing something. Look at the crime rates over there. Just look at the figures. I can't say, David said, that she didn't insult me with that comment. However, it got me thinking about using barbaric tactics as a last resort in order to establish Reardon Town. And I'm afraid that's where you're going to have to leave your email, because I've run out of time here. And I'll see, I've hooked you in for that. What's the last half of the email? You'll have to watch the next show or listen to the next show. As always, thanks for watching and listening to United Kingdom Talk. Do join in by email at any time. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Remember, be nice to your neighbours. I'll see you on the next show. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye now.